Hey everyone, just want to say thanks first of all to Kyle for coming up with this great idea, trying to keep everybody sane in this quite uncertain times. So if we can get everybody making some music, that is going to be a good thing. So I've contributed in my own small way. I've left a little project for you guys to dive into. It's very, very simple. There's a MIDI part in there that's just meant as reference. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about is, as Carl says, you know, you really don't need all the bells and whistles to start making music. The important thing is to just get a program and get going. I myself started many years ago with hardware. And now I use a combination of both. At the minute I don't have access to my studio, so I'm going to be locked away and I'm going to be using mainly the laptop. So you can do everything there. I personally like to try and mimic as much hardware behavior as I can. So one of my favorite things in Ableton are drum racks, because you can set them up easily, put your own samples in there. You can even put your own instruments onto the drum cells in there. My favorite thing about it is you can set it up as pretty much like an MPC basically, and you can trigger it off to your computer keyboard. It's just a really quick way to organize your drums and get some beats going basically. The other thing that I've put in there, which is the more complicated thing, I've left a readme note in there too, is something that is a combination of a drum rack and one of Ableton's other instruments, which is the Impulse. And it's got a quite complicated setup in there that anybody who's starting doesn't need to worry about how it's set up. But basically, every time it triggers, you trigger the cell, it will play a different version of the same sample or a different sample. So if it's a snare, for instance, every time that snare note is hit, it will play a different variation of that snare, which can make your tracks sound a little bit more interesting. You can either have the samples wildly different from one another, or you can just have tiny little incremental changes, which is basically how old analog drum machines work. That's why when you use specifically samples that are static, they will never sound like a 909 or an 808, because those sounds are changing slightly because of the way that the circuitry is set up. So that's something I like to do. I've included that in there, and I've also included a link to a Dubspot page where I originally got the idea from, and they explain it a lot better than I do. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. If you're experienced producers, maybe there's something in there you can use, and if you're just starting out, hopefully it's helpful to you to get you started. So thanks for listening. I wish everybody the best of luck. Stay safe, stay creative.